2-0 and keep Europe advancing through.
So let's see what PSG's adaptations are. They're now on the blue side. The Rek'Sai, the Zac, and the Draven going to be banned away. The Vi being added to the ban pool from G2 means that the Kalista is now unlocked for Betty. Excited to see what they can do, assuming they're able to get that lane priority, as G2 will likely respond with the Varus.
I'm just happy PSG aren't doing the third round back. I was already preemptively getting
Second
worried
pick
about
Poppy,
it.
Man. It's literally just...
But they should.
I mean, it's just...
As long as people keep B1ing Kalista, keep slamming that Poppy, particularly because KSante is also insanely strong in the current meta. And then, well, you just pick Xin, which is another champion that obviously doesn't really love
lane swapping?
But let's wait until it's locked in before we talk about the lane swap. The Rumble
they
has
will
been
lane swap
banned.
with Rumble.
Love this.
Yeah.
But remember, a big flex here for PSG. We know that both Woody and Azhi are happy to play the Rumble. We know how effective it can be as a bot lane 2v2 as well. The problem for PSG is that Poppy is a flex pick. We don't know where it's going to go. If G2 want to keep it as a flex pick, they could just go for the Talia for caps. Maybe because he's feeling himself, they want to make sure that he gets something like the counter pick so that he has a little bit more agency in his lane. If they want to lock in jungle now, that's definitely a safe thing to do. Perhaps even if they know that the Poppy isn't going to go, okay, look, they're going to lock in the safe mid, the Orianna. He had a great performance on it against T1. Well-rounded, safe, fits into most comps.
Also, I already have a decent ball delivery system in the Poppy. Not the best, but in a pinch, it'll do. Imagine some of the control mages are going
Aurelion
to
Sol
get banned away.
Probably.
That would be the other one, right? If I could see Maples just still gravitate toward the Talia just because of her position in the meta at the moment, but you're not playing it into the Talia, or into the Kalista rather, which I think does take away a lot of the value, and there's not a whole lot of dashes on the team either. So we'll see what direction PSG want to go in. I'm just happy that they've went away from just running face first into the Poppy the way that the last two games really did feel. Do have to see though, can they actually enable Betty on this Kalista? Already, JunJia on the Zhao is a very strong early game jungler, but the mid lane matchup for me is big as well, because I feel like Maple also needs to make his presence known for them to actually put the pressure on Hans Sama and Mickey.
He had a good game one, but outside of those team fights, he struggled to impact the early game, and in game two, he's really shut down. Caps actually going to be banning away the Tristana. Not going to allow Maple that opportunity. We've seen how powerful this champion in the mid lane can be, and going to be respected. Aurelion Sol now as an option for PSG.
I also think it's about who gets pushed in the mid lane, right? The reason that Maple hasn't been able to move is Caps has kept him under his tower quite a lot in the early game, especially in game two. Tristana can get the push into Orianna, which is probably why G2 are looking at banning it away here. As well as that, obviously having Rumble as the only magic damage source on your team can really facilitate him in those early team fights where the equalizer goes down. So the Jarvan banned away, trying to pinch Yike's pool just a little bit, but Yike has a lot of different options here. Likely to pick support jungle here on 4 and then leave the top laner for last.
For sure, because it keeps completely in the dark where this Poppy is going. Also means that you don't have the possibility, as much as you'd like, for PSG to pick up, say...
This is really annoying for PSG, because it's another flex pick, and they just don't know.
We've just gone to the gym, everyone's flexing, buddy.
Yeah,
look at this, look at this!
So now, the really annoying thing for PSG is you can lock in KSante, and they can do Broken Blade top on the Poppy. They can then put the Jax and the jungle into the Xin, and then they can just answer because they know that the Rumble is bot. They could pick something like Renata Varus, that would be perfectly fine. Ashe has already been banned away, but the Aurelion Sol locked in for PSG, kind of as we expected, a little bit more late game insurance, relatively safe into the Orianna as well. We did see Caps get a solo kill onto Faker in this matchup, but I imagine Maple's going to be a little bit more reserved when playing in the 1v1.
The one thing this does is give PSG, again, a mid to late game win condition, which they obviously love. On the flip side, you were talking, and I agree, Medic, with this ASO, you're not really going to be expected to have major impacts on the map outside of when you get to the later stage of the game. So more pressure going to be as, BB brings it up.
Has everyone just been practicing Vayne?
Dylan, we got to go Vayne. Caps is calling for it. He's pretty sure of it. BB will take it into the top lane, into that KSante. Poppy will go to support.
I don't know if I like this. I feel like I would have preferred Poppy top and then something like a Renata or something.
No, come on, man, this is fun.
Here's the thing, though. If it does work, even if it just works, okay, and G2 win the game, every team G2 faces from now on out has to be like, but BB does play Vayne.
I mean, that's true. It's true. I mean, the biggest thing that I want to see from PSG is just more aggression in the bot side of the map. I know that Poppy into Kalista is a very Poppy favored matchup, but with a Rumble alongside you, in my opinion, this is like one of, if not the strongest bot lane 2 versus 2s that we have in Pro right now. You just have so much firepower as long as you can get in range and go for those fights. And against BLG, that was the best version of PSG that we've seen. So I'm optimistic that we can see them fight G2 in the bot lane, find those advantages that they found against BLG.
Let's get on to Summoner's Rift for the third game of the day. Reminder, T1 versus BLG is up after this, depending on how this series goes. We'll, change the start time of that series, but we're not going to delay the start of that series if this is a 3-0 for G2. It will be starting relatively quickly afterwards.
Immediately after this game will be T1 versus BLG,
That's
everyone.
what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say. Sometimes the words escape me, Betty. Thank you for being here to help me out.
We're jumping into game 3.
We have at least one more game before we get there. G2 on the red side for the first time this series.
I have been great when it comes to pulling 5-game series, okay? And last time, we did a great job as well. T1, G2, that was amazing. Hopefully, can replicate it here, particularly for the PSG fans. Yesterday, we almost got a reverse sweep.
True.
So that's the start in the bot lane here.
G2 looking to split the map here. 5-man squad moving in. You can see Azure already moving down from the top lane. Woody's going to land those Electro Harpoons. Broken Blade trying to spot if Betty parts away. Flash! Crash into the wall. Broken Blade looking for the damage. The condemn first. Yike could flash with the counter strike, and Betty respects it. No summoners now for the PSG bot laner.
So, remember, like a few minutes ago, we were talking about how Broken Blades
straight into the gaping more of an Aurelion Sol. The rest of G2 now here to back him up.
The best version of PSG that we saw was when their bot lane was going toe-to-toe with Alkanon, when they were fighting them, when they were, really willing to scrap.
Yeah.
And G2 said, no, we're not going to let that happen. They split the map. They take the summoners away. And that,
PSG reacting, they're sending Betty up towards the top lane.
Yeah, they're going
as a
for the
reaction
lane
to it. Mickey, though, just sits in the mid lane alongside Broken Blade and Caps. Maple force low, down to 200 HP. Woody now joins the party. It's a 2v3 in the mid lane as Woody forces them away. Azure here to join in as well. The problem for PSG is while all of this has been happening, Hansama's farming bot lane, Betty's not farming top. JunJia was on his camps, but Broken Blade has been able to get a little bit of XP as well as Yike is working his way through that bot side jungle.
So they're going to go for the fast push bot, I imagine. Make sure that Broken Blade can get some experience while Arja largely gets denied. Notice the positioning of Yike as well. He sees where JunJia is and he's going to go for the invades.
BB's looking for the collapse here onto JunJia. Azure pops the ghost. JunJia will get his Razor Beaks, but now Mickey's going to knock him away. Broken Blade ghosting in as well, looking for the condemn before Azure gets to the safety of his tower. There it is, Pathmaker. Well played by Azure, but can he survive the continued dive? Tanking up his Hun. Summer takes a couple of shots. Azure ignited, and Azure falls for first blood.
He just ghosted back to lane, trying to catch the wave. I think maybe the fact that Broken Blade was there should have caught him on guard, but it shouldn't. Given how that the early map played out, the fact that G2 split towards the bottom half, and he doesn't end up hitting level 2 and he just dies.
So the whole logic here is that, I mean, PSG showed us this in the play-ins, right? Where you just overstack bot, you go for the faster push, you're able to secure more plates, but your top laner also gets some XP. It might not be a lot, but it can be enough so that once you swap back, they're in a better position once they actually get into the 1v1. And as you already see, Broken Blade now a full level up over Azure. The problem, and one of the biggest differences, is that Yike pathed in a way as Caps.
Azure's going to be able to get the Pathmaker into the wall. Cap still has the flash, tries to turn it back around. It's ringing around the rosies. Cap flashes again! Oh, how do you do that twice? If I had a penny for every time, I'd have 2. It's not much, but it's damn surprising as Caps outplays the 2v1.
How did Caps make that happen? I was convinced that he was going to die. I wonder if he was able to delay the passive fully stacking by running around the Aurelion Sol. A solo kill secured for Caps. An incredible series for him. And this early game is very quickly falling apart for PSG.
Not only that, but something that we saw so many times of G2 is that they're already swapping again. As we take another look at this, Azhi is level 1. Like, he doesn't offer anything outside of the initial stun. And then Caps does exactly the same thing here. Dodges most of it, flashes over, ball still in position. And because Yike was there.
That was oh my god.
That's an appropriate response. Because even if Caps ends up dying there, it's not the end of the world. But because he not only gets the kill, but then also gets out with his life, it's just a pure disaster for PSG. And the one thing that we wanted to go well for in their bot lane has been denied the 2v2 continuously.
No, Mickey, he has his eye on mid. Hex flash over the wall.
They know he's here though. They saw the control ward. Mickey didn't spot it, so Maple just hugs the bottom side of his turret so he can't be slammed into it.
That's good, that's good. PSG trying to mitigate the aggression as much as they can, but it's got to feel frustrating for PSG because I'm going to keep coming back to this. The reason why they could fight BLG so much was because they had options, they had tools, they had ways in which they could go toe-to-toe in the early game with BLG, but G2 is taking those tools away from them. They're breaking them in front of their face by utilizing the split map, by smart pathing from Yike. They're making it difficult for PSG to really have options, and the moment that they did find one in mid, Caps just outplays them.
PSG have done a good job of keeping Woody and Betty away from the G2 bot lane though, that 2v2. You can see Betty actually at the moment pushing in top, Azure based before the wave crashed in. Betty will likely crash this. Hansama and Mickey are trying to answer, trying to get into that 2v2, but my expectation is Betty will just crash this wave and then immediately they'll reset and go bot onto that wave that Azure is catching.
Yeah, that's a great point, MikyX, because you look at the top lane difference, it's almost a full 2 levels now between the top laners, and suffocation coming in from Broken Blade. He's definitely falling behind, and a fed KSante, or at least I guess I could say a very weak Vayne is going to be very delayed in terms of its impact, which could mean that PSG, come these mid-game fights, could be in a favorable situation.
Broken Blade actually the lowest experience in the game, and that's with him being a solo laner. So this time around, PSG found an opening.
And they'll get the grubs here. I don't really think G2 want to take this fight. They're clearing out a little bit of vision. Azure 2 levels up will get a plate for himself in the bottom lane. But PSG working the map very well through this early sequence. Go for the grubs instead of the reset to bot. Now they can look to catch this wave as it crashes under their tower. And then after the push, if JunJia still stays around, they can try and reset towards bottom lane. Azure no TP as the engage happens from Mickey, and Woody falls low. Mickey down to half HP, Astral Flight in from the side. Counter strike on JunJia will get the stun. Hansama flashing over the wall as well. Trying to take out Betty, out of vision now though. Stars descend, doesn't hit anyone. JunJia down to 300 HP. Hansama takes the kill on Betty. JunJia having to dash and flash away. G2 continue the chase. Azure's now here.
He's running.
Oh lordy, he's definitely doing that. The ghost back in.
He's running. He's still running, MikyX.
It's not really going to do too much. A little bit late to join the fight.
Even with Caps not hitting anyone, the initial vision in that brush, we saw that in the T1 series as well. The fact that the Poppy, even over the wall, can get the wall stun onto the Rumble, one of the biggest sources of damage for PSG in the early game, means that the subsequent skirmish is basically impossible to win for PSG.
And evens out the game for G2 as well. Broken Blade had so much free time in the bot lane. He's now level 5 to Azure's just level 6. Piercing arrow dodged by Azure, but there's a 600 gold lead for Hansama in the bot lane. There's a 500 gold lead for Mickey, who is running Hail of Blades in this game, and a 400 gold lead for Caps as well. So all the smart movements around the map by PSG kind of undone by that fight beginning, when maybe they could have just taken a longer route back to their lane.
Ultimately, PSG not completely out of this game just yet. They find themselves at a deficit, but more plates are going to be secured by their bot lane. Azure still in a great spot overall, sitting on, well, 3 cloth armors.
Sometimes you're really cold, Betty.
Sometimes you just need that extra bit of padding. Of course, going into a Vayne matchup does make a lot of sense. Dragon is on the cards, and with Yike covering around the bot side of the map, he finds himself a bit behind in XP as well. Been working with his team a lot while JunJia has been prioritizing the farm. You can see that in the camp discrepancy as well. Caps controlling mid pretty well. Grub spawning in about 2 minutes time. Overall, gold lead for G2, not the end of the world for PSG. They still have ways to fight back in this game.
I do want to give credit to PSG though, because even here you saw like Betty and Woody push out bot, they get a plate, a couple of minions die to the turret, Hansama and Mickey try and answer it, but Azure's already on his way back, so no minions crashed into that tower without someone being there for the XP and gold. Broken Blade pushed out top, but Woody's already there, so it's actually really intelligent. The question is, can Azure survive? As Mickey looks for the dive, Woody here to help out. Hansama tanks a tower shot, and Tofu 3 doesn't connect, and D2, I expect, will just back away from this, but it's very good lane assignments from PSG to make sure they're not losing too much XP and gold on the map.
JunJia even stealing away the red buff, and there's nothing for Yike to get on the cross map. Shockwave.
Shockwave goes in, Broken Blade with the condemn. Maple should be able to get away from this one, still had the flash.
The one member of PSG that has been able to benefit most is JunJia.
JunJia already level 6, Broken Blade. Can he get out of this one? I don't think so. Flashes the wall. JunJia doesn't have his flash. He can. In fact, BB escapes with the final hour flash combo.
That's still big though. Vayne without summoners is much less of a threat in the side lane. Won't be able to step up nearly as much, and Betty is going to be able to push here unrelenting.
I mean, PSG have done a great job of suffocating this Vayne. MikyX has been talking about it extensively, about how they've constantly moved around the map and constantly swapped, and it's been paying dividends for them. Azhi, of course, still behind, only level 7, as they look for another dive.
The pathmaker from Azhi. Miky immediately has the flash away. Chain of corruption going down as well. The piercing arrow into the hail from Hansama is enough. The dive surprising, but the result good for G2.
One of the big things with lane swaps is that you need to recalibrate how tanky you are. Particularly for champions like KSante that are pretty reliant on trying to play very much in the thick of things. If you have your steel cups there already, if you are sitting at like 80, 90 CS, you'll probably survive that. Instead, it returned a win, which is Miky's flash being forced into a loss, and Hansama getting further ahead.
Azhi TP'd in behind here, popping the ghost as well. Hansama trying to get away, doesn't have the flash. Heal up for him
around
though.
the rosies.
He's running!
Where we go? Where we go? Hansama. Oh, he's going back! Which way? And Tofu's 3. Hansama's gonna die to the tower. Woody, the heal! Hansama, can he execute? No, all out! Shut down.
If he hadn't healed, oh, it's a close one. Because if he hadn't healed, he would have died earlier, but he also may have been in range. So, I mean, he tried his best, but PSG, they're finally on the board. They get a kill. They get the shutdown as well that Hansama was sitting on. JunJia also in a great spot. PSG, the Dragon still available, 4 grubs to 2. The gold, really not that different. G2 had a great start, but you can see how the momentum feels like it's slowly shifting.
This is really, really big. I think these type of moments, particularly in a game where you're down match point, 2 match points in this case, getting these type of small wins, particularly with... We can look at the gold and see, for PSG, situation isn't all that bad, but if you're in the game, just seeing the kills come through, it can feel much more threatening. But when you look at the item parity as well, Maple sitting on his Rylai's, Betty has just finished his opportunity already on the Dirk, so barely behind Hans at the moment.
The place I will say Maple is behind is in Stardust stacks. He's only at 68 right now. Obviously, as you go through the game, you do stack up a little bit quicker, but usually you're looking at about 10 a minute, at least at the 20-minute mark. 200 at 20 minutes is where you want to be. Good Aurelion Sols at this point in the game are usually at least cresting the 100 mark.
He's also a much cheaper item, right? But it's at least the utility of the item is there. And that's, I think, the main thing for Maple. If they want to try and win some of these early skirmishes with Rumble as level 6, Ignite available as well.
JunJia level 8. I feel like PSG should feel confident to try and take this fight, and
Azhi's moving down as well.
G2 going to respect it. No TP on Broken Blade, of course.
G2
should be there.
Keeper's Verdict looking for Woody. Knocks him away, the equalizer there. Counter-strike into Smite. Yike takes it. Miky walking away. Yike still has the leap strike. JunJia has Audacious Charge, but I'm not sure you want to charge any further or any more audaciously as Betty gets onto Miky, knocked into the wall, the cleanse away. Miky dodges away from the equalizer, but his life should be forfeit as Woody flashes. Electro Harpoon into the Arcane Comet is enough.
It's okay for PSG, but it's still a lot of investment into not getting the early Dragon. And on the other end of the map, Broken Blade gets the opportunity to just farm up a little bit, catch up in experience, and as we can see, as a result, not as far behind as he was before, at least when it comes to the levels.
This Poppy just continues to be a nuisance. They do end up finding a kill, but once again, it's just, the yeet that comes out from Miky to knock Woody out immediately gives G2 a numbers advantage. They then use Hansama's Q in combination with Yike's Smite to be able to secure the objective, and JunJia couldn't quite get the Smite off. Shockwave?
Oh, Breath of Life. The Shockwave goes down. Miky looking for the knockback as well. Mobile will have to burn the flash. Woody here, burning through camps. No mana on the G2 mid laner means that he can't force any further.
All right, so Maple loses a summoner spell. Still has to be careful as Caps playing on the very edge, has his flash up, but with Woody here, I don't think he's going to flash it. Miky might, though.
Oh, was Miky spotted by Betty? I saw a couple of pings going down on the map. It looks like it. Miky instead will just take this time to put vision down, but actually it wasn't even Betty backing. It's Betty in the bot lane. Hex flash over to avoid the control ward.
There was no pings. I don't actually think they know Betty.
Betty trying to retreat. Hansama looking for the fighters. Betty has no way out apart from flash. The piercing arrow still pierces through his heart. as G2 find their fifth.
And Betty wants to hold on, but I think you have to flash there immediately and just try to negate as much damage as possible. Instead, takes so much damage, ends up giving up the flash, and Miky with a great flank here behind enemy lines takes down the Kalista.
Fortunately for PSG, they're still going to be able to get across map. Herald's going to be secured, which gives them options to lay siege onto the mid-tier 1. Yike, though, in the vicinity. Broken Blade's still very weak, though, yet to complete his first item. Can Yike steal this one away?
Leap Strike, Counter-Strike, Smite would have been a possibility. Starts with the Counter-Strike. Woody coming in from the side, but the Leap Strike always available for Yike here. No real threat. Riftail picked up by JunJia as PSG. Even gold score. Miky jumping in. Betty, no flash, Chain of Corruption. JunJia on the flank, though. Yike diving in onto Betty, who's forced low. Yike flashes, gets it. Equalizer on the backline. Woody falling so low as well as he managed to pick up one counter kill. TP in by Maple. Caps returning the favor. JunJia goes in with a Crescent Guard, and Miky knocks him back into his team. He needs to be inside that ring to do the damage, and Caps just waits for it to expire! And the arrow right through PSG by G2.
Oh, Hans! That's the type of target practice that you dream of. 1 for 2 with the arrow. They're unable to get onto one of the most fed members of G2, and as a result, PSG struggling in this skirmish.
Turns out Hans bought the AWP, and he's getting collapse here on Summoner's Rift. 2 for 1, 5-1-2 now on the Varus Maple. You're not even allowed to fly these days. He's looking for frequent flyer miles, but Miky having none of it. Knocks him into the wall. Tower falls in the bot lane. No local gold picked up, but the gold that was even just a moment ago now extends to about a 1.5k lead for G2.
I mean, I respect that PSG is willing to skirmish, but it's just a fight over the mid-wave. Varus, the ultimate comes out, but it's actually initiated by Miky. You're seeing how difficult it is for the Kalista to move into the Poppy. Yike then dives in alongside them. Good Poppy ult. Miky's just so good on the Poppy, isn't he? He makes everything come together. The TPs then come through from both sides. I was surprised to see JunJia still trying to fight this, playing with confidence in the 2 versus 3 effectively. But Manesi would be proud as the Kalak comes in.
Right there, those moments, a lot of cooldowns used as well for PSG that could instead have been saved. I don't think PSG is not going to be in a position to try and contest for the second dragon, but it is not what you want to see, particularly in a game where you're down 2 match points. Crucially though, Maple, I think, does have the upgraded ultimate available here. We'll see if that's enough to get PSG the teamfight win that they're so desperately looking for.
Drake up in 25 seconds will be G2's second of the game. You don't have to fight it if you're PSG. You can see in terms of combat gold, they're behind by about 5 percentage points. Azure looking for this mid lane once again. Flash available for Hans Summer. Yike the only one on G2 without one as Yike goes in, the knock into the wall, the counter strike. You can bring down the heavens, but it's only Yike who falls. 1 for 1 so far, but Jungler's going down as Azure tries to get in, rooted with the Chain of Corruption. G2 now starting to retreat. Broken Blade still in the top lane, no TP, remember, so this is always going to be a numbers disadvantage for G2.
A nice trade back from PSG after G2 initiates the skirmish. Both junglers down means that the dragon is going to be hard to secure, and as you rightly said, numbers in favor of PSG. Maple going to go bot to push out that wave. Arja actually making a beeline back towards top lane to catch this wave, knowing that he has the TP to rejoin the fight should another one break out.
We'll see both members, the junglers that died, make their way over again. Look at the ultimates that were used. I think much rougher on the side of PSG. That empowered ultimate in particular, that's kind of your big trump card. When it comes to these skirmishes, Woody also doesn't have the equalizer available. I wouldn't be surprised if PSG decides to let this one go, particularly with Miky standing guard. Maybe a catch on Caps.
Caps has flash, has the shockwave, pulls 2. The counter-strike follow-up. The falling star not going to be enough as Yike falls low. Caps actually separated from the team. It was the singularity, but once again, it's Miky going in. Maple flashing away. Caps on Summer. And Miky trying to fight this one out. TP burned as Broken Blade works his way down. Hearts back towards mid, might just be looking to push out that wave.
G2 should just buy time, wait for Broken Blade to push in the mid wave. Betty.
Miky has flash. A couple of spears go into his back. The root with the Chain of Corruption. JunJia taken out by Hans Summer. Miky with the steadfast presence. The cleanse not enough to keep Betty alive as Hans Summer takes down a double. Breath of life, breath of death for Miky. Azure going in with the all-out. Hans Summer still alive! As Caps secures the kill. Breath of Life in with the Astral Flight. Summer heals, but Maple's in the wrong side of the woods. As Broken Blade will chase him down the hail and arrows for the slow. Broken Blade takes out his man.
And Broken Blade shows up, takes his last hit and said, guys, you didn't even need me. As PSG desperately trying to get something out of this early game. Overstep so much, and I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but this Puppey, like Mickey's playing it well, but you've seen so many of these fights. It is so hard for PSG to get anything done because their engage relies on JunJia going in. That doesn't work. A lot of their consistent damage is gonna have to come from Betty, but even with the lethality, you're gonna have to do at least a little bit of hippity-hoppeting, and that just is not happening.
Hippity-hoppity, get off my property!
That's a great breakdown, Chronicle. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Oh, I'm sure you could have, actually. That ending was a little rough.
No, let's look back at the hippity-hoppity. So it's Caps that actually gets initiated on by JunJia. He lands a great shockwave. We're seeing this a lot in these fights. A jungle for jungle exchange. Yike on the front line kind of melts to the damage from Maple. And then it turns, thanks to the TP from Azhi. Oh, we don't have time. We're back in the action.
Okay, so Maple rode in the Rift Herald, and Caps and Mickey are just here waiting for him. Keep his verdict up. Caps down to half HP. Maple trying to trade back, but I don't think you win these. The channel stopped with the heroic charges. Yike fights on the top side. TP in by Azure, but he's going to be met by G2. Is actually Capsite on the TP as Azure's already fallen. PSG wiped away again. Betty trying to hibbity-hobbity, but he just can't find anything.
And this is right in front of Nash. That's going to be the Baron gone. The take with that Vayne is going to be quite rapid, and Betty alone can't do anything here.
Two sides of the map. G2 find advantages. PSG, they're trying to force a skirmish on the top side, knowing that Caps and Mickey are bot, but Yike just comes up clutch. The Baron now secured. G2 need to escape, and PSG's tournament lives are looking rather dire.
7,000 gold in the hole right now. The PCS on the brink of being eliminated. Caps takes a spear to the back, but he can just reset. Yet to die this game. Rabadon's on its way for him. PSG, I mean, one of the surprises of the tournament was their performance against BLG, how well they played team fights, how well their bot lane matched up into what was widely considered the best bot lane in the world coming into MSI. But today, G2 have just outclassed them.
And this all starts with them attempting to take down a Broken Blade, but Vayne is so slippery with the summoners up and the ultimate. And then I think PSG feels safe because they are playing, or they're seeing G2 play on the upside of the map, but with the teleport, that numbers advantage doesn't matter as...
Yeah. Azure, he's on his lonesome down here, and Yike and Broken Blade will happily take the kill. G2 find another. Drake up in a minute. 11 would be their third of the game, and you see how quickly the game has exploded away from PSG.
PSG have found some incredible comebacks before in this tournament, and they're going to need to find another one to stand a chance against G2 with this kind of deficit. Betty, one of the star performers of this roster, has been completely neutralized at the hands of this Poppy pick. Now 3 levels behind Hansama, and angry G2 is beginning their siege with the Baron buff.
It's a 4-1 split. Broken Blade in the bot lane. Doesn't have the final hour up yet, but these towers melt like butter in the face of Yike, Hansama, and Caps. Now they'll path down towards this bottom side. Make sure that Broken Blade can take the turret. No minion wave in mid for a couple of seconds. Mickey just standing over here, buffing up this wave, so PSG have to deal with it while the rest of G2 path towards bot.
Maple initially was looking for a flank, then took the Hexgate top, pushes that out, but they're just not going to get anything. The pressure from G2 is way too much. As at least the mid inhib, I imagine both inhibs are going to go down here very rapidly unless PSG pull a trigger.
JunJia pull back with the shockwave, puts the Crescent Guard down, Singularity out by Maple to stop the advance of these minions. Is it 200 stacks? Slowly getting towards that late game Aurelion Sol, but I'm not sure the game will go on long enough for it to happen. Saw a little interesting bit of tech there from Mickey. Charged his ultimate, cancelled it by basing. And then you get the ultimate on a shorter cooldown, obviously. Just a quicker way to cancel it if you are playing Poppy, it seems. But G2, a little mechanics, not really the story of this series. Much more about
they do
the
have a
larger
9.5k gold lead, Manic, but I like your attention to detail.
100%, a ton of people are going to start playing Poppy support after seeing it over these last few days. At least you can say you know a mechanic, even if your hands aren't that good.
Hey, I appreciate someone who's detail-oriented, okay?
Yep.
JunJia going to try and get something back as he secures the Scuttle Crab. G2 will now just turn their attention to the top lane, and it feels like it's just a matter of time. PSG have done some incredible things at this tournament. They've been able to really make a name for themselves, and I think that many people are going to respect them. Expectations are that we'll see them at this year's World Championship, regardless of the outcome of this game, as G2 continue their assault onto the base and look to round out this series 3-0.
Last inhibitor up.
Yike? Okay.
He had the Edge of Night there for a bit of shielding, which meant that the engage...
Oh, I understand. Oh, Betty.
TP behind, Azure. Last chance saloon
All or
for
nothing.
PSG. Can they find it? All or nothing, you say. The skies descend. The equalizer only onto Caps. Pathmaker. Caps flashes away. And now the counter punch is landing. Broken Blade chases JunJia out. Already we see Azure fall on the front line, and Broken Blade has the flank against 3. Can he do it? The final hour dashes away. Woody flashing in, and Mickey finds his man. Maple has to flash the wall. It's a double for BB. Maple falls as well, and only Betty left alive for PSG. Not for much longer. Good cleanse, though. Who will survive to watch his Nexus fall. There were doubts about G2 coming into MSI, but here they breathe life into EU as they make it to a matchup against top esports.
A convincing series from G2, filled with the pressure of the World Championship from last year, looking to not disappoint their region. They have a strong performance from start to finish. Caps deathless in both games 2 and 3. And PSG, they've shown us some incredible things in this tournament. Fantastic comebacks, great team fighting, and some amazing star performances. But today, it was not enough against G2 Esports.
PSG, game 1, everything looked fine. We're able to hold on for a large amount of time, but I think that game 2, that was the backbreaker. Running back the same draft, and from that point on, you're sitting at an 0-2 deficit, and it makes everything so much harder. G2, gonna be very happy. This is the type of win you want going in as you make your run into the tournament.
Going into a matchup against top esports, PSG take a bow, though. And remember, made it through playoffs. Took down FlyQuest in very convincing fashion, then almost took down BLG, who were widely seen as one of the favorites for the tournament alongside Genji. They were just one game away from not even being in this match. G2 the same, obviously, but I think if I'm a PCS fan, I'm very happy with how PSG have played.
It's of course a little bittersweet because of how close you were, but I definitely agree. An impressive performance, and I'm hoping to see them at this year's World Championship with that same level of play.
Totally agree with you, Betty. We're going to hand it over to the analyst test to break